I think I'm okay. I just wanted that clarification.
Yes.
It is even from past regimes, because
Yes.
in the last 1 year, I would have really benefited from a single court order that either Parliament or the executive has disregarded. So if you're going back to past regimes, I think I'm satisfied.
Yes, it's a historical fact, and we would like that
But also to point
not
out
happen.
to you, General Secretary,
Yes.
the stabilization fund is not a new fund. It had been there. Again, it had been abused and misused elsewhere. It's always existed.
Yes, there's always...
General Secretary, please
Yes.
don't be intimidated by Kimani Ichungwa.
Yes, the majority leader.
I'm only informing him because
I
he
need
seems not
protection
to...
from the majority leader.
I'm only informing. You know, General Secretary is sitting next to my moderator.
Yes.
Therefore, I cannot attempt.
He might excommunicate you.
General Secretary,
Yes.
respectfully, you have 2 last minutes to say something.
Yes, if it doesn't interject, I'll finish quickly. On IBC panel, we have a very simple approach. We don't want political parties to play a role in selection of IBC commissioners. We want a professional IBC. We have been involved in this for quite a long time, since 1992. So we believe that because there was a lot of controversy around the selection panel that is in place, of which we also have 2 representatives, which was the question from the minority leader, is that we are open to look backwards and say, can we get a panel that is acceptable to all the sides in the political arena? That is what we are saying. So that then we can get an IBC and a commission that is professional. We do not wish to have, it's our position that the IPPG framework, which created the ECK, where political parties directly nominated the commissioners, was creating a situation where the referee is chosen by the parties and the players. So we are for a professional IBC. And we know the law was amended, there were court orders and so on and so forth. So we have been involved in this game and would prefer that a political settlement that gives us a panel that is agreeable and gives us commissioners that are also agreeable to Kenyans, then we can move on. On funds, I think we are clear. Political leaders in this country want to manage funds. CDF was created in early 2000 to provide for devolved funds. It was after we got the new constitution, there was no alignment with the new constitution. So it's time for us to actually align these funds, because I know also once we pass this one for oversight by Senate, because Senate have been demanding a fund as well, and the women rep. What about the MCAs? So what we are saying is what is good for the goose is also good for the gander. Then go ahead and establish a fund for every MCA in this country, which is going to be absurd. So let's do away with these funds. I'm not saying we do away with them tomorrow, but can we have a conversation so that the executive runs with funds? Then we have our parliamentarians running with oversight. I think on the last question, yes, we participate and we are members of IRCK, the Interreligious Council, and we have 2 representatives in the panel. But even having them on board, we know the challenges we had when we nominated them. We have full confidence in them, but Kenya is bigger than all of us. It's time for us to sit down and talk and come up with a panel that is acceptable to all parties. And then we can have an IBC. Thank you very much.
Chair, maybe just to clarify, my question was, in the absence of political parties nominating panelists, are there other bodies? I was hoping maybe you would say, in relation to what the minority leader was asking, whether you have any relation with the Interreligious Council, that maybe we remove the 2 representatives from the Parliamentary Service Commission, the Political Parties Liaison Committee, because in a way, political parties have control of the Parliamentary Service Commission, because it's a commission for parliamentarians and their political parties as much as they are also independents in Parliament. The Political Parties Liaison Committee is represented in that selection panel, and those are political parties represented in that panel. Are you then proposing we remove even those, maybe include the Episcopal Conference and NCCK, give the religious community more representation, or put other professional bodies like ISPAC, give more representation to LSK? And maybe for information, LSK has 1 representative, Interreligious Council has 2, Parliamentary Service Commission 2, and who is the other one? The Public Service Commission 1, and the Political Parties Liaison Committee 1 in that selection panel. So that composition, how would you propose we tinker with it?
Yes, I know it started when we had 4. The religious leaders had 4. Because you know the history after 2017 election, I think, that we had to disband the IEBC that was there then, the Isaac Hassan Committee. So we 2 of them were taken from us. If you allow the religious leaders have the interest of this country, they can form the entire panel and give you the best. They can give you the best commission. The only thing is that now we bring the SUPKEM, we bring the Hindu Council, we bring the KCCB and NCSK and all the other faiths, and we'll have the best. But we know that may not be acceptable. So we are happy to have the 2. We are happy with the political parties liaison committee participating, because they also have a role to play, and political parties can have consensus on 2. So we cannot completely deny political parties a role to play in the selection panel.
Yes.
What we were against is the principle where we go back to the IPPG framework. Yes, where they nominate directly.
We heard from Attorney General Emeritus yesterday, Moswako, who presided over the selection panel. I think it was not the panel. When you do mention that, I think the first chair of IBC, the late Justice Zacchaeus Chesoni. But he had a category of Kenyans he called people with gravitas. People who cannot be compromised. Could you think about that? So that even as you think of having a professional, what you're saying, a professional IBC, you end up with the problem we have had in this country, Canon Kenyanjui, is men and women who get compromised, who get bought with money, and they bring such hurt and harm to our country. So could you think of people with gravitas? People, in that case, we have people like Margaret Kenyatta at that time. She was the first mayor, and she had authority. Even Mzee Moi at that time could not do anything about it. The late Harry Mole, an icon of integrity, right? And that is what delivered the most democratic election outcome in 2002. Since that time, with all our professional commissioners and others, Kenyans have come to grief. Think about this and perhaps pray about it.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. That's important. And I think what makes IBC dependent is not the security of tenure. It is the character of every commissioner. I think we have suffered in the last several years, and we need to see how we can up our game as a country.